Alright guys, we are back at it again with our Iron Maiden album review series that's going to end up leading to a big giant discography ranking as we do here on this channel. And, it looks like we're going to be able to include the new album Senjutsu when it does drop, so pretty hyped for that, and we'll get to see where that ranks at the end of this whole thing. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're entering a weird era for Maiden. The 1990s, a lot of changes going on throughout that decade for Maiden, whether it be lead vocalists, here an album or two later, after the one we're doing today, or guitar player change, which is happening on this album right here, No Prayer for the Dying. And Adrian Smith, one of the driving forces of the band, and that tag team duo with him and Dave Murray had been in the band since Killers. They have great chemistry, and I don't think that Yannick, who joins Yannick Gers, I don't think he's a bad guitar player like a lot of people do. There's kind of a joke going around that all he does is dance on stage, and and it's pretty funny. He does do that, but if you listen to like his stuff with on Bruce Dickinson's solo records and stuff, he's pretty dang good. He has a pretty nice tone, but he and Dave don't have quite the chemistry that Adrian and Dave do, in my opinion. But with all that being said, this album here, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. Some of the tracks I dig quite a bit. Some of them I'm just not really a fan of at all. And, but I don't hate this album. I don't hate it. It's just one I don't come back to very often at all, and even hearing it again, I was, like, on this re-listen here, I was just like, I just kind of felt the same way. I thought maybe, because I kind of forgot about some of them, and I still was just kind of same thoughts. I realized why I forgot some of them. But with all that being said, start off this 1990s album for Maiden. We start off with Tail Gunner. And Tail Gunner, I actually like that track. It's pretty freaking good. A good opener. Not as good as probably any Iron Maiden opener up to this point here at all. But it's a decent little opener. And Bruce's voice, he's trying some... I do like the kind of screamier, gruffier Bruce vocals that he kind of does on this album and Fear the Dark, the album after this. But like here, it's like, it's a little bit much. We like the, most Maiden fans, we love the great range of Bruce. And I don't know if he was just trying something new or not. Because obviously he's done a little bit of that gruffiness on prior albums, but like obviously mixed in with his great range and other styles he does. But it's just super prominent on here. But yeah, Tail Gunner, good song. Then we get Holy Smoke, which I just really don't like. It's just corny. Flies around shit, bees around honey. Like, come on, man. That lyric, it's like a joke, man. I don't like this one at all. And the chorus is not very good. It sounds like Bruce is almost straining for some reason during the chorus. I don't like that song at all. That is probably the worst song off here, if we're getting down to it. Then we've got No Prayer for the Dying, the title track, which I think it's pretty good. That's a pretty decent track. But again, nothing to write home about. Not something you're going to be like, I want to listen to Iron Maiden. Here's the title track, No Prayer for the Dying. But it's decent. And, after that you got Public Enemy #1. Pretty cool song right there. Again, decent. Not a great one. And that one, some of these seemed like they were going maybe in the right direction, the next step of the evolution, a little bit with some cool time changes and stuff like that, and like Public Enemy #1 and No Prayer for the Dying. But then, a lot of it, like Holy Smoke, it's a total step backwards from what the band was doing, all throughout the 80s and evolving. It's like they paused their evolution, or just went back in time and reversed it and not made it. So, after that we got Fate's Warning, which is kind of a filler track for me. Nothing, that one's one of the less memorable ones. Then you get on to The Assassin, which that song's pretty cool. I like the chorus on that thing quite a bit. That seems more of like, I could see that being on like a Fear the Dark, or even maybe on one of their 2000s albums as like one of the singles or something. I definitely like The Assassin. That's has a really cool vibe to it, and I really like the chorus. Run Silent, Run Deep, that one's alright. Don't hate it at all. But not my favorite. Hooks in You. Now that one is a very simpler, more commercial track It seems like it would be, I guess, but it wasn't really that big of a hit or anything. But I really like that song. And, you know, it kind of makes sense because whenever I was looking at, you know, the liner notes and stuff, that's the only song on here that Adrian had any hand in writing. And I really like that song. I love the chorus. The riff is really hooky. No pun intended. But the riff, it does hook in you. And that is the track. If I ever want to listen to something off here, and not listen to a thing all the way through, that's usually the one I go to. I really like that song a lot. Super cool song. And like, you know, sure, it does kind of go with the whole main commercial vibe that Maiden was trying to go with on this album, but that they just did it well there. Then we get Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, which is actually a cover of a song that Bruce Dickinson did on the, you know, with the solo band on the Nightmare on Elm Street 5 Dream Child soundtrack, which I like that version quite a bit better, and I don't really like this version at all. Bruce's vocals on here on this chorus are just, again, there's that strain he's going for, and I just can't seem to get into it. And I'm not really a big fan of the original song. Like, I'm not a huge, I mean, I do like that version, though. It's pretty cool. But this version, I don't. It's just, it's so cheesy and corny. And I know the same lyrics are on the other one. And that song's pretty cheesy and corny, too. Neither of those, that's not one of my favorite Bruce Dickinson songs, and it's damn sure not one of my favorite Maiden songs. Then we end it with Mother Russia, which is a pretty decent closing. That's another one I like. I know a lot of people really like that one, but that's one of the ones I'm just not too fond of. It does kind of capture that Russia feel, you know, from that riff and stuff at the beginning and all, but all in all, guys, this is a mixed bag here. Just kind of got some okay stuff in here. Maybe one or two great songs, but nothing that I just consider essential Maiden listening. Even Hooks in You, which is my favorite off here. It's not like, if I'm suggesting songs of Iron Maiden for someone new to check them out, that's not really one of them that I'm going to pick. That's maybe a deep cut, you know, after they've been into the band for a while. I've been, like, listening to it for a while. I'll be like, well, hey, this is a little bit different. But with all that being said, we're following up this with the final Bruce Dickinson album for a while until, you know, we return to 2000. But, of course, that's 1992's Fear the Dark, so get ready for that review. Because that one should be interesting. That one's kind of I've seen some people love it, I've seen some people hate it. And I'll give all my thoughts on that thing, and, you know, exactly where I lie. Because I'm one or the other. And we're going to find that out next time. But anyways, thanks, guys, for watching and subscribing, and I really appreciate all the, you know, the comments and stuff we've been getting on here lately. I love commenting back and talking about this stuff. And let me know what you guys think about this album. And if you love this album, that is awesome. I want to hear all about why. But anyways, thanks, guys.